when someone like DM, who is always positive, unlike me who's a walking depression, says that something in Diablo 4 is boring, you should expect the absolute worst.
Okay, I spent the day testing Diablo 4's new feature, the runewords, so let's talk about it. Now, the first thing we need to do is explain what runewords actually are and how they work for the people.
They're in the inventory again. Oh my god. Can we just get rid of this? I'm tired. Just give us a tab that we can open. It has all the runes and the quantities. It has all the maps that we have in the quantities. It has all the consumables. It has all of that. We already have stats and materials. Why just not make a different material thing? Having your inventory clogged with MacGuffins is the worst thing ever in this game.
That might not be familiar. So the first thing you need to know is that runewords are a 2 pairing effect. It is a generator spender. So
I've been trying to get a Shaco for the last 2 days, and it has not dropped. And he has one with 49% cooldown reduction, effectively exactly what I'm going for. I'm also, by the way, playing a druid currently. And yes, I'm currently playing Diablo 4, because I'm literally that bored. There's nothing else to play. World of Warcraft Season of Discovery is just login for raids at the moment. But, so, I'm kind of playing this now. And man, please just drop finally.
you're going to put a rune in there that generates something called offering, and the other rune is going to take that offering and then spend that offering. Now, when you're spending the offering, it has a variety of different effects that you can do. For instance, reduce your active cooldowns or be able to teleport. And in order to be able to generate that offering, you can choose your own style of either just standing still or moving 5 meters or evoking a power from another class, or maybe when you become injured, it generates offerings. So there's also a system in place where if you generate more offering than you need, these effects can stack or cast multiple times, etc. So it is basically a cause and effect, a generator spender, and this all happens.
I'm currently trying to make a Cataclysm Lightning Druid, but I'm not actually playing Cataclysm, I'm just playing Lightning Druid. That's right, I'm using Lightning. Am I an idiot for that? Yes, obviously. But it's fun and I want to see how far I can push it.
Automatically. Now, when they first showcased this in the campfire chat, I was actually pretty excited. I thought, hey, maybe this is going to have some pretty cool combinations that's going to add some depth to your builds. Maybe there will be builds that you build entirely around this. For instance, maybe we'll do something where I try to move as fast as I can. So I'm generating as much offering as I can from the rune that generates offering from moving distances. And then the proc that I have is some mega dope move that I...
So, the problem with runes, I already talked about this, but I'm going to say it again. The problem with runes is the screen clutter. The easiest way to make a game fun, by the way, also, well, no, actually, I'm going to finish the runes and then I'm going to do it also, okay? So the runes are just going to be more screen clutter effects. And at this rate, considering the easiest way to make the game fun is just have more effects that you can trigger with skills and stuff like that. Well, again, there's only so much effects like that you can add before the whole screen is covered in stuff and you don't even know what's happening anymore. So that's the problem that Diablo 4 is going to have to face because of runewords. Thankfully, runewords are not like in Diablo 2, because I said if that happens and they make runewords, the game's gonna completely die without any question. But at least they made runewords in a different way, so we're kind of saved from that, which is kind of good in my opinion, though. You know, Diablo 4 can be bad for one more day, at the bare minimum at this rate. And now with everything changed, with resistances mattering again and stuff like that, as in the PTR, Diablo 4 now has the exquisitely stupid problem that I have complained since they did it, aka the item rework. The items were not bad because there was damage on Tuesdays while it's raining and there's a triple rainbow outside. The itemization was bad because you could not make it rain and have a double rainbow outside when you needed to. Path of Exile allows you to have a quadruple rainbow when you need to so you can do things. Last Epoch, same thing. Every good game with good itemization has a severe amount of complexity to it. Diablo 4 doesn't have it. And now, the game is going to suffer tremendously from it because all the items are gonna require effectively the exact same type of stats. You're gonna need armor on something, so you reach the armor cap, and then you're gonna need one resistance stat on each armor piece, so you can cap out the resistances when the PTR becomes live. And this is gonna be a hugely detrimental thing, because there's literally not going to be variety for items. There's just going to be, okay, these are the stats that I need for every single class the exact same way. So effectively, if you have a good item for one class, it's 100% perfect for every other class, no matter pretty much what happens. And that's going to be bad. And considering you need to get these resistance caps and everything like that, also your only way to do that is by getting resistance on gears. Other games add different ways of achieving that. For example, Path of Exile allows you to convert physical damage to elemental damage, and then there's some item that gives you high elemental resistance. There's ways to combo it. Diablo 4 flat out just doesn't have that.
End up spamming a whole bunch. That's where your brain goes immediately. You think, okay, there's probably going to be something pretty busted with this. But in practice, this actually ends up becoming something entirely different. Now, I messed around with these for about 8 hours. I was playing with these here. And I also leveled the character from 1 to 60 with my buddy Barricade to see how many runes that we could acquire during the 1 to 60. And that was about 11 of them. So the 11 that we got were magic ones. So you're not really using too many rune words during the leveling process. So the full testing I did was like go max out a character at the Omega in-game, max out all the masterworks, get all the runes, try out all of the legendary ones, etc. And basically, I'm going to just cut to it here. This boiled down to, there was only a few of these that it felt smart to use literally at all, both from the active part of it as well as from the generating the offering part of it. So the combination that I came up with that is the only one that seems to make any sense for at least my character right now, as well as when I asked Barricade, I said, hey man,
runes are going to be different for characters though.
When you were testing your rune words today, which ones did you end up using? He said the exact same thing. And that was, I ended up using the Druid's Petrify, which increases your critical strike damage and also does CC. And this pretty much can be spammed. And then I had the Barbarian's Enhanced Warcry, which gave me movement speed and damage. Now you're going to notice that both of these are basically...
Well, yeah. They're just passive multipliers. Who would have expected that? Everyone.
Just affects the increase my damage.
Yep.
So the reality of what the rune words...
Because there's no point in anything else. And when something else comes, it's going to have to be incredibly overpowered. And then it's going to clutter up your screen. There's no way around this.
Turned into is it went from something that I thought was going to be this cool build that maybe changes things up, and I'm like doing like a earthquake druid or something. And instead I just found myself doing things that just gave me a little bit more damage. And in order to generate these, it's actually pretty boring too. The one that I have is me standing still in order to generate.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you stand still to generate this? It seems insane. I already saw it. Standing still requires you gain focus, or what's it called? For 0.3 seconds standing still. That is insane.
So because I'm just standing still casting my core move, it just casts it, every couple of seconds or something, it's going to cast one of these. And I'm not saying they're bad. Like having Petrify on spam is pretty cool. And having the war cry is pretty cool too, but you don't really feel the impact of it. I'm just getting passive bonus stats.
Yeah, it's just passive multiplier, and that's it.
So it's pretty boring, is the way I felt about it. I was pretty excited by the rune words, but then after I started using them, I got more and more and more bored because all I'm kind of doing is just getting a passive generation of more additional damage. And if I tried using the other ones, like there's one in here somewhere that gives me like +3 to all skills.
Wow,
I definitely didn't feel that one at
seconds.
all. It literally is just giving me +3 to my skills, and I have...
Yeah, I mean, it matters. For example, if you're a 5 out of 5 in landslide, +3 to skills is gonna be pretty good. That's gonna effectively... No, it's not doubling your damage, but it's like 50% damage increase effectively, right? But if you have 16 and use that, you're not gaining anything.
have 16 or whatever on landslide right now, so it puts me to 19. Like, I guess that's kind of cool, but it didn't really feel like it mattered at all. I tried
Yeah,
using
that's probably barely a 15% damage increase.
some of them, like for instance, the Spiritborn's Vortex, but the circle of the Vortex is so small that it barely grabbed anybody to pull them in. So that one was kind of disappointing for me. Now, arguably, these could solve some like damage reductions issues that you might have here. For instance, you could do like, okay, well, I'm generating the Dark Shrouds that only the rogue gets, and this gives me more damage reduction. Like,
okay, question for druids. Why is no one using the unique pants that give you life whenever you spend that give you barrier when you heal over the cap? With the druid, you can stack so much healing on spirit spent, lucky hit chances. There's so much things. And the barrier can be effectively up to 80% of your, well, 100% of your HP pool. Mine is 88 currently. Why does no one use that pants? It seems so ridiculously good. It just effectively, it's an item that effectively doubles your HP pool.
Stat-wise, some of these are, they're not so bad.
And it also gives you like 10% or something damage reduction when you are, you have you're full on HP. It's really good for survivability. That shit rivals Teriel's might to a degree.
It's not the power portion of this that is a bummer to me. They are actually a decent power upgrade, but they do replace your sockets of your gems. And if you look at these gems, I mean, I get 150 willpower per gem socket. So that's 300 willpower in here. If you look right now, I have 2270 of my willpower, which gives me skill damage 567. Now watch when I replace these with gems. Okay, I unsocked them and replaced it. And now I go up to skill damage.
That's 200 more almost. Jesus.
745%. And granted, I have, willpower on the necklace here. It's not a greater affix, but
I mean, why wouldn't you not?
I do have a masterwork knits on the necklace there. But, I mean, that's quite a big jump in power. So it's a little bit pseudo. The perception of the bonus damage you're getting isn't entirely accurate because you are having to sacrifice something in order to get the power. I am losing a raw, 600 willpower before I increase it here. Like that's a lot of willpower, my primary stat. I find myself very often saying that the game has a good core structure. Like there's a good...
It does. That's true, but Blizzard is just... They're trying it to dumb that you're not gonna get a game that can succeed in being smart if your goal is to dumb it down.
Base of which to work around, but it's always in the execution that I find it wanting. This is the same conversation when I was talking to Barricade today. He said the same.
Yes, because Blizzard is trying to make simple mechanics in a game that's not trying to be simple yet has done everything in its power to become as simple as possible.
Same thing. It has a skeleton, is what it feels like in the game. And for me, the runewords feel the same way. I like the design of it, the offering that generates automatically, that does something. Maybe it's a little passive for me. I'm not really engaging with the mechanic as much, but, so be it. The engagement is within the decisions that I make. But because all of my advocacy and my pressure on banking the build isn't so much on actively using them, but on the decisions I make on which one of the runes I'm going to tend to insert, I would expect some banging options that I would sit there and debate against. But the reality is I'm just going to take the passives that generate me more additional damage.
They're going to change it. And again, this is Blizzard we're talking about. They're going to change it. It's like it's exactly like the stupid pet in season 3. What was it, season 4? It was season 3. It's exactly like that stupid pet. I said at the start, it's gonna be either blatantly overpowered and one-shotting everyone 5 screens away from you, or it's gonna be complete garbage. And it was complete garbage at the start. And then they made it so powerful that it one-shots Lilith. Yeah. Blizzard can't balance anything. So, for now, passive buffs are the best, but Blizzard is going to see that and say, but I want And congratulations, now your rune activation is going to be the most important thing in the universe, and it's going to have one shot everything.
Because that's the only one that makes sense. The only
That's just only the natural way that Blizzard operates.
real choices I have here, or I can take an evade that turns into teleport, which I guess is kind of cool. Sure. But it's that over 300 of my primary stat, or over something that literally AoE CCs plus gives me bonus critical damage. I'm probably going to take those ones. So I don't think many people are going to do anything other than just take the barbarian shout plus something else that they like. I took Druid's Petrify just because I like that one as well. I assume people are going to use that one because it's one of the only other ones other than the barbarian shout that's just going to give you bonus damage across all classes. And if you're not a druid like I am, then it's going to be even better because it's another way of getting bonus damage that your class doesn't have. So I think that the skeleton is fine, the way it's designed is fine, but the choices that they give us are pretty boring. I was hoping it was going to be everyone has some cool, unique build, and it's build defining and build changing, but instead it's basically another glyph that we socket into our character slots, and most people are going to end up probably using the same thing. I could be totally wrong. This could be a bad take, but from what I've seen from play.
Also, you know what I don't like? Look at this. You can see blue, yellow, and orange. Obviously, nothing but orange is going to matter at the end.
Playing with these, I don't really see a reason to use like 90% of these things. I guess I could use the one that makes it where I have stealth and unstoppable and dodge chance. I get the rogues evade here, and I could kind of pair that stealth with the mythic unique that when I come out of stealth that I'm doing damage, but it's so far away from like actually being something that I would do a build around. Like there's interactions that can happen, but that doesn't mean that there's interactions that like should happen to make a build good. There's just possibilities that.
And he's saying that in a strange way, but I get it what he's trying to convey here. To kind of simplify what he's saying, there are interactions that are good and combos that should work for each class, aka the rogue example that he gives. But these combinations are way too niche, way too unpredictable, and you're probably gonna get out more just from basic multipliers, not trying to combo things, because comboing things in Diablo typically does not do anything, and it's just a waste of oxygen.
That could exist. They're more than likely not that great. Like here's another example. So I can do the Sorcerer's Mystical Frost Nova, inflicting freeze and vulnerable on enemies. Maybe that would be kind of cool while leveling, but I didn't get any rare runes at all while leveling. In the in-game here, when you're on the test server blasting through the pits or whatever, I don't really need to have a random vulnerability and freeze. If my build doesn't have a vulnerability already, then it's kind of dog. And if I need
it's impossible to not have vulnerability in your build.
Freeze in order to like save me, then the build's kind of dog. And plus it's straight up worse than just using the Petrify, which AoE stuns and gives me bonus damage literally anyway. And plus there's tempers like this one that straight up just gives me a chance to freeze by hitting. So I don't really need the freeze
Wait a minute. 30% chance, that's pretty good.
Anyway, when it's just a secondary temper that I have.
The freeze one is the best one.
And have on only one piece of my equipment. Also, the balance of some of these seems a little weird to me. Like this one requires 700 offering, which is a pretty good amount of offering. And it guarantees a
guarantees crit and overpower. Kill me now.
Crit and overpower, which is cool. So I can get a crit and overpower, like if I'm playing a overpower build like Pulverize or something comes to mind, right? So I get another one of these guaranteed overpowers, which I do like guaranteed overpowers. I think guaranteed overpowers actually feel quite good. But that's 700 offering. So to generate that, look at this. I would have to get a lucky hit 70. I'd have to get 70 of these lucky hits against injured.
Oh, that actually works for me nicely because I currently am stacking a lucky hit
with enemies, or I would have to travel. How many meters would that be there? That's 50 meters for 500. We're talking what, 70 meters in order to actually generate one guaranteed lucky hit. So I'm having to run a marathon to be able to get a guaranteed crit.
Yeah.
I don't really see that the cause and effect are often worth it for some of these. And again, I don't care about giving the guarantee.
I mean, for a barbarian who's whirlwinding, that probably does make sense. But again, yeah, it just doesn't mostly.
Crit and overpower once every however often when I can just get raw stats to make all of my moves do more damage.
Yep.
Because once again, I'm trading these sockets for raw willpower, which is my primary stat.
I mean, they're gonna change it. This is not gonna last for it. This is not gonna last. Blizzard is gonna 100% change it. But again, the change is gonna be superstitious anyway. So, Anyway, interesting. I guess what else am I supposed to say? Then that's just a bunch of okay, that's a thing, but who cares? Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid, and that was DM Dark Microtransactions, the skills. Have a nice day. Bye bye.